Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to season 2025-2026. We are here for not the first match of the season. I've played a couple of matches. We're on the 16th of August in 2025. I've got a big list of things I want to get through, but we're going to do that during the match. Before the match, though, we are going to take a look at the transfers. We're going to start with players that have left the club and then end, of course, with players that have come into the club. So let's get right to it. So I'm only gonna do the big players that have left the club and big players that have come into the club because we have loaned out a lot of youth players. We have a couple of players left on a free or just for a couple of 100,000. But players like Nusair Mazraoui, who went to Al Ali in Saudi Arabia, 27-year-old, left for 6 million euros. He was at the club since 2012. So it hurts to see a player of the club go, but he wasn't playing anymore. He wanted to leave because he thought he didn't have it in him anymore to start for the club. As you can see in his history, if you look at it, we used him for 3 games last season. Before that, 14, 14, 23, but the last season and the season before that, he even went out on loan. So he just didn't feature in our first team plans anymore. So we had to let him go. As I just mentioned, we did sell him for 6 million. And I think that's a very good deal for someone whose value is now only 4.5. So I am happy with that deal. It does hurt to see a kid of the club go. Moving on, Sebastiano Luperto. We bought him in 2021. So in the second season, we bought him. A very good center back, of course, but he is already 28 years old, and we sold him for 34.5 million euros after buying him for 9.5 million. So we made a huge profit on him, and we didn't even use him that much. I mean, the most he played in one season was 18, and that is just over half of the league games. So I'm not too fussed about it, and the fact that we got 34.5 million euros for him makes me really happy, because, well, we were, as you know, we were majorly in debt, so I'm happy to sell on some players for a lot of money. Luperto being the first one of those. And the second player that has left for a lot of money is Marco Asensio, of course, the Spanish 29-year-old center attacking mid. He played 94 games for us in 5 years, but at the end of the day, I don't think he still had it in him to feature enough in our plans to justify both his wages and the fact that we could get 40.5 million euros for him. So we bought him for 21 million in the first season, and we sold him for 40.5. The most that he played was only 21 games in the league too, so he didn't even he wasn't even one of our star players. I mean, this season was really good for him. 21 matches, 15 goals and 4 assists. That was his best season for us, but after that, it just didn't click. I mean, he was good, but he just wasn't good enough, and I think looking back at it, I would have rather used Unuvar from around this season than to have kept Asensio at the club. But either way, we've made a nice little profit on him of almost 20 million euros. And he has gone to Juventus. So moving on to the next one is Mitchell Bucker, the player that we bought back from PSG. He has left to Bordeaux. Let's see, we bought him for 1.5 million and we sold him for 4.5 million. So again, made a little bit of profit. He actually didn't play a single match for us since returning to the club, which, you know, it might seem like a kind of a bad transfer, and, you know, to be honest with you, it was kind of a panic buy. I wanted more Dutch players, and this guy was the first one to come up in my mind. But in the end, looking back, it just didn't make any sense. He wasn't good enough then. He isn't good enough now. So we sold him on for 3 times as much than what we bought him for. And I said I wasn't gonna show you less important players, except for this one. Steinkroon is 19-year-old. We offered him a new contract, but he accepted PSG contract, and look at that, they're paying him 29,000 a week for the 19-year-old that is not gonna feature for their first team probably ever. So we did still get a little bit over €1 million for him, 1.2 million. So that's good for a player that we hadn't used at all. So yeah, that's him. Moving on to the final player, and the final player is David Neres. One of my favorite players at the club in real life for sure. But again, just one of those players that wasn't good enough anymore to feature regularly in our first team plans. So he has gone to Shandong in China for €45.5 million. So Ajax bought him in 2016 or 2017, I believe, in the beginning of 2017. They bought him for €15 million, and we sold him for 45.5. So again, over 3 times as much. Really good profit, and he has been really important for the club, both in game and in real life. So, even though, again, I'm sad to see him go, it is a really good transfer financially. Looking at the finances, we are no longer in debt. We're €32.5 million in the plus. So let's see what we did with that money to get him some new players. There are 4 players that we've bought. This is the first one. It is a younger player, but he is instantly our first backup for Onana. So his name is Elon, or I'm not sure. But either way, an 18-year-old Brazilian goalkeeper, so he will become homegrown in a couple of years' time, and he will become very good too. I'm not going to spend too much time on his page because he's not going to be that important just yet. The only thing that I do want to say about Elon is that we paid €5.75 million for him. This is the next player, Jose Carlos Garcia, and another Brazilian, surprisingly enough. Again, 18-year-old, again, he will become homegrown in the future. This time is center mid, and he looks really class already, and he's gonna become even better. He hasn't featured in our match just yet, but that's also because he wasn't away on international duty for the first couple of matches. I'm not sure if he's already back. I think he is, so he might feature today. I'm not sure. But this is Jose Carlos Garcia. We bought him from Flamengo for €14 million. That was his release clause, and I think he's gonna be worth way more than that in the future. So again, really happy with this transfer. And then there's one more, and that is Jeremy Lecomte. Look at his value, that's already sky high. He is already world class. He is a little bit on the smaller side, only 184. We bought him from OGC Nice for €33 million. Of course, not all of that is upfront, but he looks like a world class defender already, 19 years old. Except for his height, everything is very good. Look at those physical stats. Look at every single one of his attributes. It's insane. I'm very happy with him, even though we paid a lot for him. He did already play 2 matches in the league and scored a goal in one of those. Speaking of the matches in the league, let's take a look at the schedule. So, of course, we have played the Johan Cruijffschaal, which we won 1-0 thanks to a goal from Lassina Traoré. We then beat Fortuna Sittard 3-1, Jeremy Lecomte scoring after 2 minutes, Kudus with a penalty, and Bushi with a third one. And another 3-0 win, this time over Heracles, Univar, Anthony, and Regeer with the 3 goals. So right here today we're facing Utrecht and Sparta, and I hope that we can pick up 6 points. Obviously, we have until now won every single competitive match. When you look at the friendlies, not that good, but we have played very big teams. Barcelona, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, we all lost. Man United was a narrow loss, so I wanted to get some revenge on them for the Champions League last season. Sadly, our assistant couldn't manage to win that game. This is gonna be the first 11 for this match, so Onana is gonna start in goal. Range, Lecomte, Bermudez, Gvardiol, Thiago, Regeer, Anthony, Gonzalez, Univar, and Bushi. And we're just gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna start with the big list that I've got right here of things that happened. It's mostly just awards that our players won, but it's a lot. It's a lot of awards, and it's gonna take some time to get through. So let's get to the kickoff. Let's start the match. Let's hope that we can completely dominate Utrecht and pick up the 3 points. There we go. So, first off, Rocky Grootvraam. Grootvaam. Wow, I can't even speak normally. So we loaned him out to PSV, of course. He actually came second in the Europa League Golden Boot. Oh, I accidentally paused it. But he came second in the Europa League Golden Boot. So he is a very good striker. To even be able to manage that with a team like PSV is pretty damn good. So maybe we should keep him. I'm not that sure yet if we're gonna use him, because we have got a lot of good strikers, which is the problem when you get too many youth players like I have. But it might be a very good shout to keep him at the club. He's another Dutch player too, so yeah, it could be a good second or third choice. Well, probably third, because we have Boshi and Traore. Univar, by the way, with the goal, but it is disallowed. He was offside, pretty obviously, so still 0-0. Why can't we shout? I want to shout at the players. Alright, so we get another chance, but in the meantime, I'm gonna continue. So Onana actually only came third in the goalkeeper of the year, which is very odd to me. He conceded 21 goals, he had 18 clean sheets. And he finished third in goalkeeper of the year. Oh, that was a good attack, but... good save by the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper that finished in first, on the other hand, conceded 74 goals. He literally conceded over 3 times as much as Onana, but he came in first and Onana came in third. I do not understand that at all. So that was a little bit weird. Then moving on, our average attendance moved from 56,306 to 57,205. So that's almost 1,000 more, which is a lot, because I think that's almost our maximum capacity. So there we go. Yuri Regeer, his second goal of the season, and he opens the score here against Utrecht. Let's fire up the players immediately, because we're gonna have to push on, because Utrecht are still very dangerous. Boshi tries to do exactly that, but a good save. So Lassina Traoré became top scorer with 22 goals, and in second was actually Nico Serrano, the player from us on loan at Vitesse, with 18 goals. So basically you could say that both of the first 2 top scorers in the league were our players, which again is very promising for the future. And what a beautiful goal that is by Rossano Boshi, the player who is definitely up for a contender for top scorer for this season. I mean, if you play like he does, you're gonna get goals. And there we go, it's halftime already. What is happening? Why is everybody pressured or overwhelmed? I just fired them up. Alright, so oh no, okay. Alright, a couple of players getting motivated, but why are they overwhelmed or pressured by firing them up? That's weird. Maybe we shouldn't fire them up anymore. So, when we talk about young Ajax, we have Kenneth Taylor, Juan Martin, and Alfredo Tucker. They were actually, all 3 of them, in the top 3 of Keukenkampioen-divisie Player of the Year. Abreu, a player who I've shown you before, was the top scorer, and Alfredo Tucker finished in third. And Abreu and Martin got the Keukenkampioen-divisie Young Player of the Year, as Anthony scores the 3-0, and it's gonna be an easy win again. So I almost wanted to fire them up again. Let's encourage them. Does that work? That definitely does not work. So let's make a sub. Let's get Thiago off. He's on a yellow. So let's get Alvarez on. And let's get Alvarez at center back. And let's get Donny van de Beek in center mid. And besides those 2 subs, I'm going to keep it like this for now. And in 10-15 minutes, I'm going to make a final sub. So I got the Steam achievement of Legend, which is 5 times Manager of the Year, which spoils it a little bit. We got Manager of the Year again, deservedly so. And one of our young goalkeepers, 18-year-old goalkeeper, he's on the under-20s, his name is Huari. He got the under-20 World Cup Golden Glove. So we've got a very good goalkeeper too in our youth ranks. So again, is all very promising for the future, and I cannot wait until all of those players have reached their full potential. I'm gonna sub off Gonzalez for Kudus, I think. Yes, as Univar makes it 4-0, his second goal of the season, and we are gonna continue with that sub. So the Eredivisie stays in the 7th place in the world. Ajax has moved up one space in the coefficients, up to 15th. And the country is up to 5th place in the coefficients, which means that starting next season, so not this season, but next season, we have 2 teams in the Champions League group stage. And we have, instead of one in the 3rd qualifying round, and instead of having 1 team in the Europa League 2nd qualifying round, as Univar makes it 5-0. What a win this is gonna be. So instead of having a team in the 2nd qualifying round, we have a team in the playoffs. So that's all very promising for the future of the entire country too. So the final whistle has gone. We've won 5-0. Univar with 2 goals and with a disallowed one. So he could have had a hat-trick if he would have stayed on side for that first goal. But that was a very good win. And if the entire season is going to go like this, I can't wait for every single match. So we actually aren't even in first. Feyenoord is still in first. They've won 3-0, 4-0, and 5-0. So they're doing very well too. So we are going to move on to Sparta in just about a week's time. And I'm going to see you guys for that match in just a second. There we go for the second match of the episode. We're going to make a couple of changes. Let's get Elin in for his live debut. And I do want to have another couple of other players in there. So let's get Bayraktar in for Univar. This is another one of the new players. It's the only other new player. Sinisa Radulovic. I didn't show him because I thought he wasn't going to feature in our first team for a while. But apparently he is going to. He is going to. We got him on a free but had to pay 1 million euros in compensation. And he's going to start as left back today. We got him from Red Star, Serbian 18-year-old, already 2 senior caps for his country. And he is going to come in for Guardiol. I said, let's get Bayraktar in for Univar. So let's do that. Thank you. Other players that I want to start. Where is that? I know who I want, but I cannot find him. So let's get Regeer off. Let's see if we can find him this way. Whereabouts is Garcia? Nowhere to be found. Alright, so let's just then keep it like this. Elin in goal, Wrench, Lecomte, Bermudez, Radulovic, Thiago, Regeer, Anthony, Gonzalez, Gugdenis, and Bushi. Shall we do Bushi or shall we do Traoré? Let's get Traoré in for a start. He has scored some goals already this season too, so let's give him a chance. Let's not keep him on the bench for the entire season. He doesn't deserve that. So let's get straight into the game. And the list of things that I needed to talk about has actually gotten pretty small. So I think I've done pretty well in the first match. So let's continue doing so. So the amount of season tickets sold last season was 44,998. And it has gone up to 45,615. So we've sold 617 season tickets more than last season. Which is good. Of course, our maximum capacity is somewhere in the 57,000, so still some room to grow. We have set a new record of most amount of Johan Cruijffschaal won. PSV had the record with 11. We now have 12. So that is very good. So Bushi finished in 3rd in the European Championship Under 21 Golden Boot competition, and Ruggieri and Bushi were both selected in the Dream Team. So I actually only have 2 things left, and that is about some big players at the club that you might have been missing from the squad list, as Sparta almost scored the opener. And that is both Daley Blind and Toby Alderweireld. So as Traoré perfectly timed opens the score 1-0 in the 24th minute. Let's go. So both of those players, they are still at the club. Toby Alderweireld is a young Ajax coach, so he's not the manager, but he's just one of the coaches. And Daley Blind is one of the under 18 coaches, but he is still a player too. So we could still use Daley Blind if we would want to. Toby Alderweireld, on the other hand, has retired from competitive football completely and has gone to being a full-time coach. So that was actually the entire list. And Alderweireld and Blind I'm really happy about, because I didn't really want... Well, on one hand, I wanted to sell them because they were on very high wages, and I mean very high wages. But I didn't want to lose two club icons just like that. So, the same with Eriksen, by the way. Eriksen took a pretty big pay cut. And, well, Blind, of course, he was on 120k, I think. He is now on 55. And Alderweireld has gone from whatever he was on, I think about the 100k mark too. He has gone down to a full-time coach. So, he is on, I believe, about 3.5k a week now, which is a lot less than he was on previously. So I'm really happy with the fact that we could keep both of them at the club without having to pay their full salary still. So let's make a couple of changes, because it is only 1-0. We do have 2 yellows, so let's get those 2 off firstly. And let's get Gugdenis by Ragdar off for Dolberg. Let's give him another couple of minutes here. 20 minutes to go, only a 1-0. I mean, 3 points is 3 points in the end, but I would like our team to do a little bit better than only a 1-0 win away from at Sparta. But it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better than 1-0. Maybe it's going to get even worse. There is still one highlight here. 5 minutes to go. There are probably going to be more highlights. But it is still only 1-0. Let's hope that we can get our second here, and Sparta are not going to score. No, don't do this. Don't do this. That is so annoying, to concede 4 minutes before the end of the match. And not only that, but the goal scorer Luis Sinisterra, of course, ex-Feyenoord, makes it even worse. So, as you see, we're gonna go very attacking. We're gonna berate the team, and hopefully we can push on for one late goal, but it's not gonna happen. And I think I've rotated just a little bit too much with just a little too young players. I mean, we had only rotated 3 players, but maybe that's just too much, because they didn't know each other yet, not that well anyway, and it cost us 2 points. So we're not gonna have the entire season of winning every single league match. Neither are Feyenoord, apparently. As said, do still have a 100% record, but that is so annoying and so disappointing to drop points that early in this season. So let's take a look at the league table. We are in 3rd right now. I mean, we're still in a very good position. We're still unbeaten, which is the most important thing. And we're still, I mean, only 4 games played. There's nothing to say yet about the entire league table at the end of the season. But it is still very annoying to drop points this early. So we haven't had the draw for the Champions League group stage, so I don't know when we will be back yet, but I think it's going to be somewhere around the Feyenoord game, which is pretty much scheduled perfectly, right? So I'm going to see you guys back for at least one Champions League game, and I don't really know when it's going to be, so you'll just see that next episode. For now, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe as well if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.